Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Today is a culmination of so many people's energy, effort, and belief. Over the past year, our students have taken ideas from the earliest spark and worked relentlessly to bring them to fruition. They started with questions, sometimes just a frustration or a possibility, and through research, customer discovery, prototyping, setbacks, revisions, and failure, they transformed these ideas into real ventures. What you'll see today is the full results of that journey. And none of it happens alone. Our mentors have volunteered countless hours, challenging assumptions, opening doors, sharing hard-earned risks, and standing beside these students as those students take risks. Because of that guidance, our students don't just learn about entrepreneurship, they live it. They gain real-world experience, resilience, confidence, and something truly invaluable, the courage to build something from nothing. Colgate's entrepreneurship initiative has grown and evolved just like the ventures that begin here. We've deepened our programs, expanded opportunities for students to engage in building real ventures, and have become a fixture in the university's initiative for arts, creativity, and innovation. And when you look at the legacy of this program, the proof is in the founders who came before them. This very ecosystem has been a launchpad for incredible real-world companies, names you'll likely recognize, like Fair Harbor Clothing, Chicory, Flour and Salt, Campus Real, Better Mind, Shot Quality, and many more. Today, we are sitting in the room with the next generation of those founders. But what truly defines this program and this gathering are the people and the community that we are building. This is the foundation of entrepreneurship and innovation. Thank you for bringing your energy into this room today. Let's celebrate the work here, and then let's begin. To start off today's program, we would like to recognize the 2026 Colgate University Entrepreneur of the Year. I would now like to welcome Joe Leo, Colgate Class of 2001 and President of the Alumni Council, to the stage to honor this year's recipient.
Oh, music. Good afternoon, everyone. The Entrepreneur of the Year Award, presented jointly by the Alumni Council and the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, recognizes the achievements and qualities of an alumna or alumnus who best exemplifies the ideals of entrepreneurship. Past recipients have been founders in varieties of industries, establishing disruptive ventures in technology, retail online learning, sustainable development, and more. I am excited to recognize this year's recipient. We are proud to honor Viraj Puri, a leader whose work at Gotham Greens has brought sustainable indoor-grown produce to thousands of stores nationwide. His journey from leading startups in the US, India, and Malawi to becoming a preeminent voice in sustainable agriculture illustrates exactly the kind of bold, innovative leadership we celebrate today. Please join me in congratulating Viraj.
Thanks, Joe. Great job. Back. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
On behalf of the Alumni Council and the entire alumni body, I would like to thank Viraj for his extraordinary service and congratulate him on this recognition. Now back to Carolyn.
Thank you, Joe, and congratulations, Viraj. Now I would like to introduce the moderator of our panel, Gus Coldabella, class of 1991. Gus is the Chief Legal Officer at Castle Island Ventures, the blockchain-focused early-stage venture capital fund, where he helps the firm and its portfolio companies assess opportunities and risks in global public policy and regulation. He has served as Acting General Counsel of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Chief Legal Officer of Circle, General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer of Paradigm, and a Litigation and Government Investigations Partner at Goodwin Procter. Gus was Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees and President of Leo Alumni Council. Please help me welcome Gus and our pitch competition judges to the stage.
What is up, Colgate? It's good to see you all today. Whichever order makes sense, makes sense.
Boy, girl, boy, girl. Boy, girl, boy, girl.
This is truly one of my favorite events of the year because we gather together as a community with alumni, with parents, with students, and especially with our undergraduate entrepreneurs who are presenting today either here on stage or over in the now behind the curtain area. But you know, TIA has been around for 17 years and it's been known for innovation during that 17 years. And one of the innovations that the leaders of TIA came up with last year was, you know, a little gloss on the ordinary Shark Tank. Usually, the judges just get up there and start asking hard questions. And the people in the audience don't know anything about those people who are asking the hard questions. So the innovation was, let's spend a little time with the folks who are going to be evaluating and helping and asking smart questions to our student entrepreneurs before that happens, so you and they understand where they're coming from. So I can't wait for this crowd to get to know you all. What I'd like to do is start by having you introduce yourselves in the context of this question. I mean, a lot of people think of entrepreneurship like, oh, look, Zuckerberg came up with an idea in his dorm room and started a company. It's a straight line to success. What we know is that that might not be the truth. So let's start with you, Viraj. And by the way, congratulations again on your Entrepreneur of the Year award. Frank Dining Hall to Gotham Greens. Tell us about the journey.
Oh man, well first things first, delighted to be here and truly honored. It means a lot, so thank you to the Alumni Council and to TIA for this recognition. Certainly Frank Dining Hall, and one thing I'm very confident about is my fellow brothers at the Beta House. I'm very confident that I was probably be voted least likely to be sitting up here one day. So dreams are certainly possible. Look, I didn't know what I wanted to do, like a lot of liberal arts students, right? And what drew me to Colgate was not knowing what I wanted to do, and I just knew the diversity of different classes and courses and programming would suit me well. From a young age, I was always sort of drawn to the environment, the natural world, love kind of, spending time in the outdoors and outdoor recreation. And I knew I wasn't really scientifically minded, so I took a few science courses, a few environmental studies courses, but ended up majoring in international development. And between my junior and senior year, I went backpacking in this, well, first I did my obligatory internship in New York City working on Wall Street, did that for 2 months, and then went backpacking, and I ended up in this remote part of the Indian Himalayas on the India-Tibet border, and fascinating place, high altitude desert. And I met this individual who was starting to install solar panels in this high altitude desert, and just leapfrogging technology, going from this very economically impoverished area to going straight to clean energy. And so I moved back to New York, lived with a bunch of Colgate buddies in a five-man apartment, and started working at a law firm, thinking like good liberal arts student, I would go to law school. And but I kept thinking about this place in India, Ladakh, and wanting to go back. So I applied for a fellowship, this organization based in Sun Valley, Idaho, that gave me a $50,000 grant. And my idea was to return to Ladakh and install solar panels and promote green building technologies. So that was really my defining entrepreneurship moment. And the stakes weren't super high. I didn't take venture capital money. It was a fellowship grant, but I still had to deliver financials and reporting and manage a budget and manage a small team of people. And my appetite was wet at that point, right? That I wanted to go into entrepreneurship. So I came home to New York, decided to apply to graduate school and dual MBA and MS programs in sustainability. Got into a lot of programs, but I started working at the small engineering firm in New York, where I was staffed on a small hydroponic greenhouse project. And I'd never set foot in a greenhouse before. Had no idea what plants were or horticulture, anything, right, like that. Because I was focused on solar energy and wind energy and biofuels, and that was going to be the future of energy, right, energy production. And, it was a compelling opportunity to write a business plan, and I didn't end up going to graduate school, much to the chagrin of my parents, and created this concept for Gotham Greens and got together with a college buddy to write a business plan and brought in a couple of other co-founders. So it's been a circuitous path, Gus, and I think it's really just not starting here with the defined major that's really enabled me to dabble in a lot of things and eventually bring me to a lettuce production company.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. Sarah, you are our non-Colgate graduate, but we have already worked on getting you
Make her
an
feel welcome,
honorary
everybody. Come on.
situation.
Yes.
We are overjoyed that you're on this panel with us. You're going to describe what you do, but you are not only a founder yourself, but you deal with founders every day. So tell us about your journey and sort of what you've learned after sort of talking to and counseling and helping with the success of hundreds of founders.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm going to take a hard left from where my friend is here, and it sounds like a very vapid career after that. But I didn't go to Colgate. I regret it. I've met so many amazing, kind people. It's been such a warm welcome this weekend. I didn't go to grad school. I didn't go to business school. I went to the School of Hard Knocks, I guess. But I grew up, and I don't know who saw Tracy, her talk yesterday, but I grew up with that same sort of curiosity. And so I actually wanted to be a talk show host. And no one told me it wasn't possible, so I thought it was possible. So after college, I went to college in Southern California. When I was there, I edited our magazine. I hosted an entertainment show that I think had a viewership of 2 people over the course of 4 years. And then I moved to LA, where I worked in casting at MTV. So I don't know if you guys remember shows like Pimp My Ride. I don't know, it's a long time ago. But like Pimp My Ride and Next and all these shows. And then I worked at E! News, and I had the world's best job. My job this was like pre-reality TV. I always say it was pre-Kardashian, to kind of like date ourselves. And my job was for the first 3 hours of the day, I would watch the Today Show and The View, and I was just had to find interesting people. And then if I found interesting people, I had to figure out how to find them. And then once I found them, I would bring them to LA, and I would put them in front of my boss, and we would see if they deserved a reality show. So in a very weird way, it kind of stemmed to what I'm doing now. But I moved to New York. I wrote a book on dating. I basically said yes to every guy who asked me out on a date for a year because I love people, and I was super curious. And so I was like, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to get my own talk show, and this is going to be my life. And that did not happen. Turns out it's really, really hard to do that. So then I interviewed to go work at a magazine, and I got an offer to work at Elle magazine, and the salary was $18,000 a year, and the year was 2006, and they promised me all the free beauty products in the world, but like $2 a week. So I couldn't do that. And so I had like $400 left in my bank account. And I literally ran into a girl in the street, and I had gone to school with her, and we had recognized each other, and she had said, I just got a job offer to go to this PR firm. I'm happy, but do you want to go in my place? So I showed up. I didn't even really know what PR was. I was not Amanda Freeman. I was Sara Brooks, but I got the job interview. And that's kind of how I started. And so I started my career in PR. And really, PR is very similar to being a talk show host, and it really ignites that curiosity, which is figuring out how to connect a consumer to a product. Like, what is going to make that person tick? And so I worked in New York for a long time. In 2014, I started my own company called Covet. And at that time, there was no one really focusing in consumer packaged goods and kind of the better for you space. And so I saw this white space. And so I launched an agency I did like the Jerry Maguire thing. I took the biggest client from the firm I was at. I like literally carried a cardboard box with the plan as I was fired, because turns out you shouldn't email other people from your work email, because your boss can go into your work email and see that you're doing something. And so I was exited out the building. I started my firm with a client, and back at the time it actually IPO'd. It filed for an IPO yesterday, called Suja Juice. It was the first kind of cold pressed juice. And they took a chance on me, and I grew that company, and I sold it in 2020 to a strategic that was owned by private equity. I served as the chief brand officer for about 2 years. We sold again to private equity in 2022. And now I have a consultancy called Goldilocks, where along with 2 partners, I help advise on brand strategy and brand positioning for the same sort of industry.
That's amazing. Everyone in the audience, students, you have just received a master class in under-promising and over-delivering. You're like, oh yeah, it's just going to be basic. And then that incredible story. Who's next? Oh, it's Kevin Heffernan, class of 90.
Let's talk vapid now, guys. I'm in the movie business.
So Kevin is, and I say this with the risk that Jay Chandrasekhar is in the audience, the funniest guy in the class of 1990.
I'll take it.
And you actually did come up with an idea in a dorm room or a tap room. Why don't you tell everybody how you got from there to here?
Okay. Yeah, so I'm class of 90, yeah, and yeah, we were guys sitting around in the room, as most guys do, and say, boy, that's really funny. We should do something about that. And so we started a comedy group here at Colgate in '89. It was called Charred Goose Speak at the time. I guess it's still here. It's still kicking around here, right? And so, but there was kind of nothing like it here at the time, and it was just kind of our idea, like, hey, let's do stuff where we can make fun of that professor or that administrator or whatever it was, and everyone could have a great laugh. And so we started putting shows on. We did a show in here, one of our first shows, in this cavernous room, and I think maybe 20 people showed up. But and so it ended up being actually pretty successful for us here. People really liked it. So we moved to New York City afterwards, and we started doing live shows then. And I did go to law school because I thought I would be a lawyer. And at the same time, we were doing this stuff. And it was kind of an era where it was a kind of a hotbed of independent filmmaking. There was a time in New York City, and guys like Kevin Smith and Richard Linklater and guys like that were making their first movies for nothing and finding buyers and finding markets for them. And so we said, let's do it. We're going to do that. And so I graduated from law school. I was preparing to take the bar, and I called my dad up, and I said, Dad, I'm not going to go to take the bar. I'm going to go make an independent film. And I remember he said, he went here, he played football here, and he's all football analogies. He's like, Kev, you don't take the ball down to the end zone and not cross the goal line. And I said, well, that's what I'm going to do. And so we made our first movie. It was called Puddle Cruiser, and we shot it here at Colgate. And
Yeah, definitely clap. Come on.
yeah, we shot it in 1995. And we put together about $200,000, and we came up here and we asked Colgate if we could shoot a movie over the summertime. And they said no. They said, no, you can't shoot a movie here. And we said, why not? I said, well, we don't want our movie to be Animal House. We don't want, you guys being drunk on camera, and Colgate's the party school and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, it already is the party school. But we said, fine, we won't do that. And they said no. And so we reached out to our alumni group, everyone we knew. And at the time, everyone had fax machines then. There were no emails. And everyone faxed the dean of students and said, you should support the arts. These guys want to make a movie. And so so the dean of students called us up, and he said, Uncle, stop sending me faxes to my office. You can come make your movie. The stipulation is you can't say the name of the school or the name of the buildings. You can't put the name in the credits, none of that stuff. And we said, okay. And so we made that movie. We came here, we made it for about $200,000. And it was a learning experience, but it worked out all right. We took the movie to Sundance, and we kind of made our mark there. We sold it there. And after that, we started developing a movie called Super Troopers. And we went to the legacy media companies. We went to the big companies, said, can you give us money to make a movie? And they said, no, we're not going to give you money. Unless, is Ben Affleck in the movie? No, I'm in the movie. And they're like, no, forget it. And so, ultimately, what happened was we had a close friend, Cricket Langell, who was in your class, and her dad was a retired banker who wanted to be a movie producer. And she introduced us to him, and he read Super Troopers, the script, and he said, I'll pay for this movie. And so he did. And so that was the Colgate connection, and he put up $1 million, and we shot that movie, and we brought that to the Sundance Film Festival, and we sold it to Fox. And from there, we were kind of off to the races, and we were able to make the kind of movies we wanted to in a DIY way that we like to work. And we've made 9 movies now.
Awesome. Thank you. Switching topics. It is now illegal to get investors and founders together without mentioning AI within the first 10 minutes of the conversation. You know, Anthropic just came up with a model that is unsafe to release this last week. And I mean, you can't open up the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times without reading about how AI is going to disrupt what everyone does, whether it's Colgate University or entrepreneurship or law. Kevin, Hollywood is in a tizzy.
Yeah.
How's it affecting you, your team, and how you think about your craft?
You know, I feel like the focus is how it's affecting the creative world. You know, I haven't seen that much effect in creation in the sense that, like, you know, you still need the guys to write the things and perform the things. And, you know, we took like a season of Tacoma FD scripts and pumped them into ChatGPT and said, give us a thing. Let's just, you know, for goof, let's see what you get. And they kicked out a script and it was terrible. It was terrible. And so that made you feel good, right? Because you know that you, but the jobs are going away, you know, and they're going away in kind of weird ways. Like we're in post-production now on our movie, and you think about, you know, what these things are doing now. We can edit a movie more quickly and easily. And, you know, like, for example, you don't even think about these things, but like, you know, when Tom Cruise makes Mission Impossible, right? And there's a guy who sits in a booth and takes Tom Cruise's scripts and reads it in Spanish, and he does the Spanish translation. And they do it for every country in the world. So there's, you know, 7,500 different guys doing it in Russian and Chinese and whatever. And now what you do is you take Tom Cruise's voice, you put it into the model, and then you put the script in, and then Tom Cruise reads in Spanish, and Tom Cruise reads in Russian. And every one of those guys whose job it was to read that is now out of work. And so these kind of weird places where things happen and you don't realize it, you know. And so for me now it's mostly post-production, but I think, you know, a lot of people talk about AI this weekend. It's like, there's also a benefit to it, and it's a tool. And we all talk about that. It's a tool, and if you can use that tool, then it's going to be your benefit. You know, I'll sit in an editing room now, and there's an editor who knows how to use those models and knows how to create vocal work or visual effects, and they can do it like that. And then there's the guy who can't, and I'm not going to hire that guy. I'm going to hire the guy who can do it. And so moving forward as students here, you know, I think it's important to maintain that personal human value. But it's also an important tool to have because the train's coming down the tracks and it's not going to stop. And we're not going to go back to where we were. So you guys got to figure out how to use that as a tool. And the people who have been doing it in my industry are probably the people who are going to get ahead. So
Let's stick with what Kevin just said. Anyone else on the panel, what do you think students should, I mean, students like everyone in society are feeling a little unbalanced about what's around the next corner and the corner after that with AI and various other things that are coming online. How do you think they should be approaching, you know, career thoughts, entrepreneurship thoughts? What should I be focusing on right now so I'm ready for that next step?
Farming.
Yeah,
Everyone should become a
Agreed.
farmer.
lettuce growing.
Agreed.
Go ahead.
I think that as long as students continue to really prioritize how to ask great questions, we were talking about this in an investor panel before. If you can ask great questions, if you're trying to you need to know what you're trying to understand. You have to ask for the outputs. You have to have really good inputs to ask for the outputs. I'll give you an example that I used literally yesterday in my business. We launched in Whole Foods in 300 stores 2 years ago, and as part of that, we hired a contractor to work with us and understand how many units per store per week we were selling and how we were going to use that data to determine how much we tried to sell to each of the stores, determine how much we were going to price products. We had to use this very complex data, and she had to do it all by hand. My business partner and I really couldn't do it. We didn't have that technical capacity. Yesterday, I took a sales by store, by SKU, so by each product information input that one of my retailers sent me from 20 stores that we launched in 2 weeks ago, and I had all of that data that person who I had paid $10,000 to do in 5 minutes. But I only had that data because I knew what to ask, I knew what I was looking for, and I knew what I wanted to use it for. I want to figure out how much product I should be sending them because I need to know when they're going to run out of that product on their shelves. I had to make a bunch of assumptions. Okay, if a store hasn't sold if a store hasn't sold anything, let's assume they're going to sell 1 unit per week of that product. So I had to input a lot. Otherwise, I was not going to get a useful output. But I had to learn all those things from people around me. 2 years ago, I also wouldn't have even known to ask those things. And so I think that you need to keep your mind open to learning from senior people around you about their specialties, and then figure out how you can like mix that into your daily workflow and make things easier and faster for yourself.
Amazing. We have 2 minutes left. I know it's 1 minute, but I'm saying 2 minutes. In any case, we're going to do a lightning round. So what I promised at the beginning was, hey, you're the judges. We want to give everyone a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. And you've been on both sides, but everyone's been on at least one side of the table, probably both sides of the table, pitching or being pitched. So when these students get up on this stage, with a little bit of sweat on their brow, and do what they do, what are you looking for?
Passion. Tell that story with passion, right? As if it's the most important thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a storyteller, and so I want to hear a story, and we pitch a lot, and I get pitched a lot, and I don't want to rattle anyone, but I want to hear in your words. I don't want to hear I don't want your head in the paper, and whatever. I want you to tell me your story, and then I'm going to believe you, and I'm going to believe in you if you tell me your story. So, yeah, I think what you're saying is right. It's a little bit of passion and a good storyteller is what I look for.
First of all, you're all going to do great. Everyone is so excited to be here. So just take a deep breath. You're going to do fine. In my industry, there's a theory. It's called the jobs to be done theory, and it came out of Harvard Business School. And the idea here is that people don't buy a product. They hire a product for a specific job to be done. And so I think any successful company really understands that they have to solve a consumer tension. And so it's much more about the product. It's grander. It's about the vision. And so be very clear on your vision and kind of get out of the weeds a little bit.
I think to mix all of these ideas together, when I am a part of pitch contests or when I watch pitch contests, to me, the thing that makes a pitch stand out is, why are you the person who's going to solve that problem? And what is the proof that you have for me that's going to make me really believe that you're the one to solve that problem?
Amazing. As we turn the program back over to Carolyn, I want you all to join me in thanking this amazing panel of judges. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, don't forget.
Mine's-
Well, we all
They said we need a microphone. Okay. I think in the stands over there.
Thank you, Gus, and thank you to our panelists. Today's conversations have been the perfect inspiration to carry us into the pitch competition. I would now like to introduce Jen Martin, the Weiner Family Entrepreneur
I like
Investments.
even numbers better.
Jen joined us in September and leads the Thought into Action program. She advises students as they build their ventures, partners with alumni mentors who support our student businesses and nonprofits, organizes our monthly TIA events, and has expanded the program with new summer initiatives and a weekly lecture series. Jen is a creative and strategic founder with more than a decade of experience building brands from the ground up. As co-founder and chief brand officer of Pipcorn, she helped turn a 3,000 idea into a multi-million-dollar brand, securing a deal on Shark Tank, multiple features on Oprah's Favorite Things,
Is my
and shelf space in Whole Foods, Sprouts, Target, and many other national retailers. Jen has been recognized as one of Entrepreneur's 100 Power Women in Business, Forbes 30 Under 30, and Essence's Women to Watch. Since her time at Pipcorn, she has advised legacy CPG companies, global automotive brands, and mission-driven startups on strategy, storytelling, and innovation. She believes success isn't just about creating something cool or interesting, it's about building something people want to be part of. That's where she thrives. We are so lucky to have her here at Colgate. Please help me welcome Jen Martin to the stage.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. I'm so thrilled to be here. The past 8 months have marked
the beginning of one of the most rewarding chapters of my professional career. So I'm very, very grateful to be here. As a former college entrepreneur myself, to actually missed my college graduation because I was at a farmer's market slinging some pipcorn, which I decided in the moment was more important. To be on the other side now, helping these students build their dreams has been absolutely amazing. Watching our 35 ventures pour so much into their businesses on top of rigorous academics, athletics, and social life has been incredible. And while it's been incredible, what I've come to realize is that it's actually not unique. It's exactly who Colgate attracts and who they shape. Because at the same time, I've watched the Colgate mentors, despite their extremely busy careers and personal lives, pour so much into the students, opening up their networks, sharing advice, expertise, and dedicating so much time. So I feel so lucky to be here. So thank you to the students and the mentors and our peer advisors and our marketing and communications interns and Carolyn, Christian, and Chanelli. This has been such an incredible 8 months. And to the students today, yeah. Thank you. And to the students today, I just want to remind you to soak up every minute of today. It is not a fluke that you are here. You have worked so hard. You've earned a spot in the room. It is just really, really impressive. And I want you to lean in, make every connection, talk to everyone, put yourself out there, because believing in yourself and betting on yourself and leaning into the uncomfortable will change you on a cellular level, which will then change your life. So whether you're pitching or tabling, just go get it today. And I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to debrief with you all next week and then make some action plans. So let's get into the showcase. So today we have 4 teams who are pitching. The first place is $10,000 prize, and the other 3 teams will receive $3,000. We also have something very new and exciting this year, thanks to Andres we knew I was going to do this. I'm so sorry. Andres Ekanike, which is the Audience Choice Awards. So when you walked in, you should have received an envelope, and it has 2 sets of instructions. The first instructions are for the investment game, also known as the Iggy's game. We're going to explain that later. That'll come during the tabling portion. The second is for the Audience Choice Awards. When the judges go to their 10-minute deliberation, you're going to scan the QR code. It'll also be on the screen. And at that point, you will be able to vote on superlatives for all 4 pitch teams, which are tied to cash prizes thanks to our incredible sponsors. So I'm going to tell you the superlatives. You don't have to remember them. They will be on the app. But just so you know, as you listen to the pitches today, what to look for. So we have the Chicory Innovation Award for the most groundbreaking and original innovation, the PAR Technology Award for the product most effective at removing friction from an industry, the MVP Capital Award, which is for the most scalable, the venture with the most solid business model and immediate market potential, and then the People's Choice Award for the solution or product you just want to buy or use right now. All right, so let's kick it off. Our first venture pitching is HatchPay. We are joined by founders Fletcher Goodell, Anders Larsen, and algorithm developer Jack Tepper. Fletcher had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to compete in an Ironman in Chile, so he'll be joining us virtually, while we have Anders and Jack here in person. The team was mentored by lead mentor Patrick Doyle, class of 1990, and supporting mentors Ken Carter, class of 1992, and local entrepreneur and our resident mad scientist, Jason Zucker. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Jack, Anders, and a virtual Fletcher.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. We're so honored to be here pitching alongside the other great ventures. I'm Fletcher, a senior here at Colgate, and I first want to apologize for not being in person with you. As Jen mentioned, about 9 months ago, I committed to my first Ironman in Chile, so tomorrow I guess we're going to find out if I can swim. But trust me, you guys are in great hands with Anders and Jack in the room. To give you some backstory, I grew up flying back and forth to my parents on opposite coasts, and without knowing, I'd saved up hundreds of thousands of miles. Now, to give you a sense of value, you can book round trip to Europe for just 12,000 miles or one-way business for about 25,000. Now, I've tediously learned how to use points, and it led me to a very big conclusion. It's one thing to redeem rewards, but most people aren't earning them properly to begin with. So to fix this, please take a quick look at what we've built in our demo. The average American holds 4 credit cards, and yet most people only use one of them. Even with the world rapidly adopting digital wallets like Apple Pay, that hasn't changed. 84% of these transactions still fall on the default card you set, not the best card. You think these digital wallets are great and convenient, but the truth is, you're missing out on rewards. Now for the exciting stuff. By ditching the default, you can go from this to all this, unlocking hundreds, if not thousands, in rewards each year. Who am I? I'm Fletcher, one of the co-founders of HatchPay, and I flew 80,000 miles this year using just points. Think of me as your living proof that rewards are powerful, and with HatchPay, they're accessible too. Don't want to take it from me? Ask this chick.
The credit card is the most powerful tool in any wallet, but what good is a tool if you don't know how to use it? HatchPay is here to fix that by picking the best card for you so that you can meet your goals.
After all, that girl's trip to Bermuda is not going to earn itself. Simply press pay and their algorithms do the rest.
To get started, you securely load your cards and set any rules you may want factored into our selection. Then, use HatchPay like you would any other digital wallet. Just tap to pay, and don't worry about whether you're buying gas, groceries, or some other impulsive bull. We've kept everything you know and love about Apple or Google Pay. We're just as secure, just as convenient, and a hell of a lot smarter. Stop leaving value on the table. Let HatchPay be the credit card expert so you don't have to be. Thank you, everyone. With Anders, my co-founder before you, we created HatchPay, the wallet that automatically selects the best card for every tap. No guesswork, no catches, no extra steps. Now, think back through the last year. How much value have you left on the table without even realizing? Anders, Jack, please take it away.
Thank you, Fletcher, and it's really so great to be here. Also, please come back from Chile, okay? We miss you. Now, who is our product for? Well, we've identified 2 early customer segments. Active maximizers who want to offload the decision-making and execution, and young digital card holders who want guidance, not tons of research. These groups are in niche markets where we can build early loyalty. Examples include couples prepping for kids or a wedding, or people like us setting up their first apartment. What's most important is that these segments already use this type of technology.
And as you can see, the mobile payments transaction volume will surpass $1 trillion by 2027, with 70% of US adults today actively using mobile wallets. What's more, 1 in 5 people already leave their home without a traditional wallet. So it's not a question of whether mobile payments will dominate, but who will own that experience. Ultimately, that 84% falling to the Apple default card becomes even more critical. This means 3 of the 4 cards in the average wallet are effectively excluded, making wallet share a growing concern to issuers. Now, you might call this Apple being Apple, but we've begun calling it Apple Purgatory.
Let's talk execution. In today's economy, forcing yet another subscription, it isn't how you build loyalty. Our core product is completely free, and to us, a transacting user is a valuable user. That being said, we will offer premium subscriptions with further personalization, deeper analytics, and eventually agentic payments.
And as our user base scales, so does our data set. Hyper-local, merchant-coded, cross-wallet data that nobody else can build. Hedge funds alone spent $2.8 billion on this data last year, and at 100,000 users, we can confidently offer our data APIs. Plus, the more users transact, the more valuable the data. And the more valuable the data, the more attractive our APIs.
That same data turns into a valuable recommendation engine in your wallet. We see every card and transaction, so we know exactly where you're leaving value on the table and which new cards fill those gaps. That makes our recommendations fundamentally unique in comparison to sites like NerdWallet or the Points Guy, and that precision drives conversion that issuers will pay for.
Altogether, this forms our multi-stream business model, positioned to scale with a rapidly growing data set. At these metrics and 100,000 users, we'll converge on $590,000 in monthly recurring revenue. This puts us at almost $6 in monthly revenue per user. And the very best news, this is our low estimate.
Now, card issuers are industry giants and our critical partners. So how do we get them on board while offering rewards automation? Well, we bring them 3 things they always want: new cardholders, merchant offers that actually convert, and increase transaction volume. And through conversations with Amex, MasterCard, Citi, and Barclays, we've uncovered additional offerings that catch their attention.
First, hyperlocal geolocation data that maps out the full consumer journey. Second, real-time influence at the moment of purchase, guiding users to local offerings. And lastly, merchant rejection data showing lost volume. As of recently, merchants can choose to accept specific credit cards rather than all from a network like Visa or MasterCard. This creates a unique opportunity to help issuers recapture volume while saving users the headache of card declines.
Thanks, guys. And to tell you about us, I'm a credit card expert. And Anders, well, he's kind of the perfect example of an emerging card holder with just 2 cards. We lead the direction, Kaea focuses on the day-to-day, Jack and Ohm handle the technical, and Vilas helps us capitalize on machine learning and AI. We've spent countless hours writing code, performing analyses, and tuning our algorithms. And now, we are so excited to unveil our exclusive Hamilton launch for you to try this weekend. To build up data density, we have partnered with MX, not to be confused with Amex, who like Plaid is an industry leader in secure transaction data. With the Showcase Prize, we'll scale this partnership and our product for waitlisted regional launches. If you'd like to join our journey, we're looking for venture partners and expanding our relationships with issuers. Thank you so much, and please come visit our table to download the app.
That was great. Okay, and we can jump right. Okay, can we get the judges' mics on? Thank you so much. And then we can jump right in. You guys have 5 minutes.
Oh my God, 5 minutes.
5 minutes, I know. And Gus, it's a real 5 minutes.
I just have a confusion question. So are you guys working in conjunction with Apple Pay, or are you looking to supplant Apple Pay?
We're more so looking to supplant Apple Pay.
Okay.
But right now, we don't really get in their way particularly. So
And I guess my question is, I mean, Apple is known for having incredible brand loyalty. How do you do that? How do you supplant the people from Apple Pay?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. The only way that we'll be able to do that is by making our process just as convenient as them, but way smarter, right? So right now, when you're downloading HashPay, hopefully at the booth after this, you don't even need to put in your card information, no extra onboarding, nothing like that. Just click on the icons for your card, and then when you click pay, we actually send you to your Apple Wallet where you already have all your cards in there. So it's super easy and simple. It doesn't require any real extra steps. You don't really have to move away from Apple Pay just yet in order to make use of our product right now. Later on, that's something we'll explore.
Yeah.
Can I ask a soft question? How do you guys at all of these incredible schools know each other?
Yeah, it's kind of a random question. Fletcher and I met each other this summer working in the auction world, actually, in New York City. And Fletcher, we would be out at lunch every day, and he knew exactly which card to use at every single place. And I was like, I have no idea what you're doing or what you're talking about. And so we figured there should be a product that serves both of us. There should be, something for Fletcher, who has this whole plan, and for someone like me who has no idea what they're doing, or I like to think I have an idea what I'm doing now, but back then there should be something that does it for me, right? So that's what we've built.
Interesting. And then a more technical question. So you're talking about using your phone to pay for things. What about the big purchases that you guys are thinking about making online, like using a web browser? So you're moving to New York City, you're buying a couch, that's going to be the most expensive thing you've ever bought. That's not going to be done with your phone.
Right. That's a great question. And moving on to those online payments is sort of the next step. Right now, because we want to focus on something really novel, we're just trying to nail down that in-person element.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. I will say that in-person is definitely more challenging because you're dealing with physical geolocation data, user preferences, whereas online, using URLs, it's very easy to establish what your intent is. So until now, machine learning is really what's making the in-person possible.
So similar to podcasts, I can't listen to anymore. And with apps, I feel like they're so saturated. So what is your kind of path? I saw what you guys are looking to raise, but what is your path to kind of consumer adoption and awareness in such a saturated apps in general, but also with Apple Pay just being such the default for the consumer?
Yeah, totally. So if you'll flip to the slide at the end, we basically want to copy kind of built strategy. They were someone who kind of expanded regionally like we would in New York, and Fletcher can speak to a bit more about that specifically, but just really focusing on like a regional launch and focusing on like targeting customers in a very particular segment and getting that right in front of them.
And I think specifically with that, they were built on the same founding principle as us. they were bringing you rewards on your biggest purchase of the month, which is rent. We want to do that for every other transaction for you. So we're going to have a very similar targeting strategy where we're not just targeting, people who pay $2,000 a month in rent or $8,000 a month in rent. We'll be able to go after the same transit lines that they did, have the same approach for New York and San Francisco, where we plan to launch first.
I think Built is also an incredible business for you guys to take some learning lessons from. As they've launched their second card, they have lost almost all adoption.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, we're aware.
Very aware.
Super interesting.
Great pitch, guys. Congratulations on all the traction thus far. Would love to hear a little bit about the competitive landscape and how you guys will maintain the competitive moat, given how things quickly move. And if Big Bad Apple in Cupertino hears about this, how are you going to fend them off?
Sure. Okay, there's two big parts of that question, right? The moat and then also the competitive landscape. Maybe I can cover the competitive landscape and we can push moat to Jack or Fletcher. In terms of competitive landscape, there's a number of other competitors sort of vaguely in our space, right? Why doesn't Apple, for example, make the same product? It really boils down to the fact that right now they've got a pretty sweet deal with the current issuers, right? They charge interchange fees on every single card. They don't want to mix things up and make these issuers angry. We're small enough, we can sneak in there, kind of do what we want to do. Another competitor I really want to draw your attention to is Curve. You'll see they still offer that same effortless automation, but the way they go about it is actually not allowed in the US. That being said, they function in the UK and the EU, and they have 6 million users, so it's really a proven instance of demand for that same frictionless experience at checkout.
Yeah. If you'll flip to the competitive
Totally.
advantage slide. So a big thing here is with the compounding value of the data, as you gather more users and they get more transactions on this app, the aggregate data becomes much, much more valuable. And that compounding effect kind of creates this like flywheel that lets us get ahead of people faster. Eventually, if we start working with issuers, we get a lot of user adoption and they're working with us, we lock in them. It becomes hard for them to switch, and then it also becomes hard for customers to switch to another product if such a venture were to come out.
And that's time, sorry.
Right.
I tried to walk slowly.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Jen. There you go.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was amazing. Next up, we have Mike Ahearn Wilcox, staff member and founder of EchoScape. Mike was mentored by Andres Echenique, as well, class of 1983, and supporting mentors Omer Jelani, class of 1993, and Alex Moore, class of 1999. Please join me in welcoming Mike to the stage.
Hi, I'm Mike Ahearn Wilcox. I personally struggle with anxiety, as I know many of us do. I started my venture EchoScape in order to assist with anxiety symptoms in my own unique way. So anxiety isn't just a personal issue anymore, it's become a societal one. It causes people to shut down, relationships tend to suffer, and work becomes harder. In 2003, about 22% of people had an anxiety disorder, and by 2023, that number increased by 200%. There's also a deeper cultural shift happening. Social psychologist Jonathan Haidt calls it the great rewiring of childhood. Technology is fundamentally changing how young brains develop, increasing stimulation, distraction, and anxiety. So the question becomes, how do we regulate our minds in a world that constantly dysregulates us? Anxiety dysregulation doesn't just affect how people feel, it affects how people work in the economy. An estimated 12 billion working days are lost every year due to anxiety and depression, costing the global economy $1 trillion annually. And employees that report burnout are 63% more likely to take mental health sick days just because they can't operate at full capacity. Interestingly, we already know one of the most effective tools that can assist with this, meditation. Clinical studies show that meditation is known to reduce anxiety symptoms by 30%. And research from Harvard Medical School shows that meditation can reshape the brain in as little as 8 weeks. It can reduce cortisol levels. High cortisol is bad for the body because it keeps the body in a constant state of fight or flight. It can lead to high blood pressure, severe fatigue, type 2 diabetes, and so much more. So, why isn't everyone meditating? Well, it's because meditation is actually very hard for a lot of people. Only about 20% of people meditate regularly, and 50% of people who tried structured meditation programs tend to drop out within 30 days. From our very own EchoScape proprietary customer research, we hear the same issues over and over again. People mention that their minds wander too much, they don't have enough time to meditate, they need to move, it feels like a chore, And we found out that the biggest issue comes down to consistency. And we know that people benefit from meditation if they keep doing it. The biggest predictor of consistency is something very simple: how calm people feel during their experience. If people feel frustrated, they're going to want to quit. But if they feel calm, they'll come back. Introducing EchoScape, an interactive sound environment designed to help regulate the mind towards focus, calm, and emotional balance. Instead of asking people to sit completely still and clear their mind, EchoScape invites the user to play with sound. This isn't just sound healing, this is neuroscience. Studies have shown that sound and meditation can improve calmness by up to 65%. And when calmness increases, people tend to meditate more often. The key to EchoScape is interactive sound, sound that responds to the user. EchoScape is controlled with a video game controller. This matters more than it might seem. If we look at movement-based meditation practices such as Tai Chi, yoga, and even walking meditation, we see that they are known to reduce anxiety symptoms because they give the mind something gentle to focus on. The same principle is seen with a video game controller. It's similar to fidget toys as it brings in motion and sensory input that allows the body to become less stressed and increase concentration. And now I want to give you a quick glimpse into how I use EchoScape with our own working demo that you can try at our booth later today. So, when we start off with EchoScape, it was working earlier. Okay, right? Look at that. And not working. So, like I said, you could try out that demo at our booth later today.
Well, take your time, take your time.
Please.
Can you get it to work, or?
Nope.
No? Okay.
So,
Does somebody have any?
we're all set. Initial testing with EchoScape has worked out incredibly well so far. In our testing, 97% of users have felt more calm after only 5 minutes of use on average. And even more importantly, these people that tried EchoScape said they were able to stay focused during their entire experience. But to solidify our claims, we are reaching out to neuroscience researchers at Mount Sinai in order to conduct a study. So if we look at the current wellness technology solutions that are available, we see that the Calm app is geared towards traditional passive meditation. Playing a meditation video game that has minimal interactivity is also geared towards traditional meditation. And Trip is an AR or is a VR soundscape experience, but no one is combining meditative motion combining meditation motion with interactive sound healing. EchoScape is the only one that allows users to create their calm. Another reason this works is because of who we're designing this for. There are 67 million people in the United States that have anxiety who are also video game players. These are people, that's roughly a third of the anxiety population in the US. These are people that already understand digital experiences, controllers, and interactive environments. Instead of asking them to develop a completely new habit, EchoScape is meeting them in a format that they already enjoy. It's meditation built for the gaming generation. Our plan is to launch EchoScape on Steam, a video game platform that's free to use, that has its own user base of 147 million people. We would be launching the product at around $15 to $20, with expansions released several times a year for $5. Though with our plan to scale to phones via iOS and Android, as well as pursuing corporate wellness programs, our 3-year revenue becomes $5 million. Our team brings in deep expertise in sound design, technology, and industry leadership. I'm Mike Ahearn Wilcox, founder and creator of EchoScape. Greg Donovan is our advisor as a seasoned industry executive production leader, and Natalia Pollack is a skilled programmer who is bringing our technology to a video game landscape. I'm seeking $250,000 to support our growth in funding. This money would be used to hire 2 engineers, a designer, increase our sound libraries, and ensure that we have the structure set in place when we do plan to scale later on. So I've personally seen how anxiety can quietly reshape someone's life. But I've also seen how the correct tools can help people with calm, focus, and presence. EchoScape is my idea to build one of those tools. Thank you, and please scan our QR code, as I would love for you to follow us along on our journey.
Amazing. Thanks, Mike. Okay. And we'll kick off the Q&A, and I really urge everyone to try EchoScape at Mike's table later because it's amazing. So.
Mike, can you tell us, I want to hear a little bit more of the story of how you came up with this idea. I mean, is it a very personal story, or is it, tell me a little bit about that.
No, I appreciate that. So this idea has actually been in my head for about, I guess, 11 years at this point. I originally was supposed to graduate with my MFA at SU back in 2015. Never finished the thesis project. Anxiety got in the way, and last year I finally went back and started working on it. And I started, the idea was in my head as a different concept, but as I was building it, it started developing more into a meditative experience, and it was helping me get past some of my anxiety with, defending the thesis. Yeah. So it was really exciting to build, and once I finished it, I'm like, oh, this is something that can't, it's not just going to help me, it can help a lot of other people.
Yeah, that's great.
I think it's amazing. I think anxiety is one of the most universal problems. Question, I'm like a meditation novice a little bit, but is it transcendental meditation, or what sort of specific meditation, like philosophy, does EchoScape promote?
Yeah, so I know for me specifically, going back to the personal part, when I use passive traditional meditation, my mind wanders a lot, but because of the anxiety, it wanders to dark places. And I found with the interactivity of this, similar to yoga and Tai Chi, it allows your mind to stay focused on the experience and get a much more relaxing experience out of the meditation.
Amazing.
Mike, nice job and staying cool under pressure when the demo didn't work, so congratulations. Can you talk to us a little bit about customer adoption, and what is your strategy, and how much of the initial funds are going to go toward that? Like, what's the strategy to gain users?
Yeah, so we, like I said, we plan to release it on Steam initially. It's going to be a lot of grassroots marketing. I just want to have a small marketing budget so that we can, it's only going to be sold for $15. We need to make money off of that. So we want to do a lot of community growth through video game communities on Reddit or local communities, as well as doing some reaching out to indie video game journalist publications to get some stories written about us. So I think there'll be a lot of general growth through those services.
Great. Content marketing too could be really helpful.
Yes. I probably with specific people on Twitch as well that are in that wellness spaces and video game spaces.
I really love the idea of launching the B2B corporate wellness pilots. I've seen that be really, really successful as a way to actually create businesses, like from the beginning, having paying customers and having the paying customer be not the end user can be very successful. Have you considered any potential clients for that type of B2B work?
So I've been looking into colleges to start off.
Cool.
I've already benefited from going to the competitor, the Calm app. I found out recently that being a teacher at a college, at least in the New York State Union, you can get that for free. So it's being subsidized by by NYSET. So looking into programs like that for teachers and college students, yeah.
Awesome, cool. I would highly recommend reaching out to like for-profit businesses, whether it's an Amex or someone like that that offers a lot of additional support to their employees, because they will pay any amount of money to keep their employees calm. That could be a great place to find paying customers.
Okay.
Very
great.
cool. Great business proposal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Okay, amazing. Next up, we have Agnes Ndanu, class of 2028, founder of MajiSafi Solutions. Agnes was mentored by lead mentor Brian Horry, class of 1982, and supporting mentors Rich Shorten, class of 1989, and Rachel Tebow, class of 1997. Please join me in welcoming Agnes to the stage.
Hello everyone, my name is Agnes Ndanu and I'm the founder of MajiSafi Solutions. MajiSafi is a Swahili word that means clean water, and we are a sustainable social enterprise building long-lasting wells that generate revenue to fund maintenance and expansion. Imagine walking 2.5 miles to Price Chopper, not for groceries, but just to get water to brush your teeth, and then doing it again every single day. This is the reality of many millions of people in Kenya, including my own village. This isn't just a problem I studied last summer, it's also one that I also lived for 18 years. Growing up, getting water did not mean turning on the faucet. It meant walking long distances to the nearest water source, often several kilometers. And even then, the water wasn't always clean. Most of the time, these sources were dams shared with livestock, posing serious contamination risk. This is a problem I face, but it isn't isolated. In Kenya, 86% of households, roughly 45 million of people, lack access to piped water. And through my experience, I'm inspired to start this company, and I'm going to show you how it's going to drill 10 to 20 wells each year, impacting over 100,000 people. Let me give you an idea of how dry it is in eastern and northern Kenya. Here in Hamilton, we are blessed with a lot of rain, around 1,300 millimeters of annual rainfall. However, northern East Kenya is drier than even the driest place in the US. The brown areas in the map show regions in the country that suffer from low rainfall, and our vision is to impact over 100,000 people in this area. To achieve this, we are partnering with Engineers Without Borders, a nonprofit tackling critical engineering needs in East Africa, to build a scalable model capable of reaching 10 to 20 villages each year. And while nature isn't giving us enough water, many people have drilled wells in Kenya, but most of them are failing, honestly. And this is because first, most wells are very shallow, being drilled to the first water table only, which is 40 to 60 meters deep. And second, they do not establish a sustainable business model for the maintenance of these wells, and MajiSafi solves both of these problems. We've developed a two-part solution. First, we are going to drill deeper sustainable wells into the second water table, which is 200 to 250 meters deep. Thus, our wells can last over 25 years, which will by far outperform the existing solutions which fail in under 5. Second, we'll establish solar-powered community distribution kiosks where we will store and distribute water. Additionally, we'll also implement smart water vending machines where residents can purchase clean water using M-Pesa mobile payments, similar to PayPal or Venmo. This technology will not only enable 24/7 access to safe water, but also significantly reduce labor and maintenance costs. Thus, one well can serve over 1,000 people, saving thousands of hours each year, which means more children in school and more families with a stable income. And now I'm going to walk you through how one well becomes financially sustainable. Our wells operate using a simple pay-per-use model. Residents purchase clean water at just 1 Kenyan shilling per liter, about 1 US cent. At this price, a single well serving over 1,000 people and distributing approximately 3,000 gallons of water per hour generates steady revenue over time, becoming financially sustainable by year 2. And while one well is powerful, our real impact comes from replication. Through our partnerships with Engineers Without Borders, 95% of the cost of future wells is covered. This allows us to replicate our model across tens or even hundreds of communities with small incremental capital, and this is how we reach over 100,000 people within the next decade. There are currently over 1,000 villages in Kenya right now suffering from extreme low rainfall, and our vision is to serve 10% of these within the next 10 years. Many organizations are providing water in Kenya, but many are failing, and the biggest problems everyone is facing are financial sustainability and reliability. We are the right solution, and what really differentiates us is that we meet the communities where they are through quality, affordability, convenience, and efficient payment. But hey, this isn't just an idea. This is already in motion. Over the past year, we've built a foundation from community engagement to site assessment and even strategic partnerships. At this point, everything is in place. What remains is the final step. Now it is a matter of drilling the well. We are currently fundraising with a clear goal in mind. Water is going to flow by July this year. Over the next 3 months, we'll secure permits, finalize payments, execute drilling, and install the vending machine so that we start distributing clean water to the community. This work is driven by a committed team where I lead strategy and implementation alongside our community and field managers on ground in Kenya. We've also partnered with DrillSol for the technical execution of the wells, while also collaborating with Engineers Without Borders. We are raising $30,000 to drill our first sustainable well, bringing clean water to over 1,000 people by July this year. This investment will fund engineering and installation, unlocking clean water access and a scalable model for expansion. Get involved by either donating to support our implementations of the wells, volunteering to join our team, or partnering with us. Please visit our website to learn more about our work or scan the QR code at the end to support directly. Thank you so much, and I hope that you'll join me in turning this vision into a reality, because access to clean water shouldn't be a privilege. It should be a guarantee.
Great job.
Yeah, great job. Congratulations. How long does it take to install one single well? To make, I don't even know the right verb, but how long does it take to actually get it made?
It takes, if you take into account drilling and installation, 3 months is enough, as long as you have the required permits and the way to go, the funds, yes.
Okay. And besides capital, what do you see as kind of the biggest obstacle in the next year?
Yes, and that is what we were really working on it last summer, because water tables might not be there, and we want to go to the second water table, or the community might not be collaborating, because this is very heavy on community partnerships. And so we are working, what we do is that we make sure that we mobilize this community, and we also conduct hydrological surveys in order to make sure that the water tables are there. Yes.
Congrats, Agnes. Great presentation. Question on the permitting side in the government regulatory landscape. Is that a big barrier? And what sort of stands in the current wells in these communities? Are they owned by, who owns them? And are you going to be viewed as sort of, even though the mission is obviously to deliver clean water, is there anyone who's going to oppose them necessarily? And how does the kind of current well system work?
Yes, and so I'm going to answer that in 2 parts. And so in terms of permits, actually, I thought that would be a very long process and difficult process. It turns out it's very easy, especially with our partnerships with Engineers Without Borders. These are people who have been working in East Africa for way too long, and so they are trusted by the government. And so second, in terms of, what was the second part?
Just sort of the competition, right? So like you set up these wells, right? And people are paying, what about the existing wells, even though they're far away and these might be more convenient? What is the current business model of those community wells? right
I
now?
would say I didn't come across a functioning well last summer. So people are in dire need of water, and they're actually waiting for me to bring the water. They're like, "When are you coming?" Yes.
Are there other wells that have this pay per use model, or is that a new model?
That's a new model.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any worries about bringing that to market, whether it's just like the functionality, getting people to make the payment and it going through, or any feedback from the community, or not as worried about that?
Actually, we have already tested that last summer.
Okay.
Where we bought water from a vendor in Nairobi and brought it to this community, and we're like, we are selling water today, and it ran out like 10,000 liters ran out in one day, and people were very fine with paying with it. And M-Pesa is well known in Kenya, and so that wasn't a problem.
Okay, great. And can you tell us a little bit about how you secured that partnership with Engineers Without Borders? That's very impressive.
So first it was through TIA. I was really working with the TIA members, whether that's mentors, whether that's Jen. And then in the way, I met this retired engineer who was part of Engineers Without Borders, and he was like, I think I have an organization for you. Because initially I knew Doctors Without Borders. I didn't know Engineers Without Borders. And so that's how I got the contact, and then I talked to the people who are actually in Kenya. Yes.
Amazing. That's such an awesome partnership.
You were talking about there, some people are trying to do the same thing, and that maybe they're failing right now, and there's wells are failing. Expand a little bit on that. Like, why are things failing, and why do you think that yours won't?
So imagine, first water table is 40 to 60 meters deep. Second water table, 200 to 250 meters deep. That's a huge difference. When you're drilling a well, you are charged per meter. And so people opt for the cheaper option. But then what they don't realize is that this well is going to dry within the next few months. Yes.
Does the deeper well typically have the capacity for 24/7 use from an entire community?
Yes.
Wonderful.
They do.
And the correlation between the hydrological survey, like, is it pretty guaranteed then prior to drilling that you're going to hit the pay dirt?
Oh, so many people reviewed that survey. I was like, myself, I was not an expert in hydrological surveys. And so when it came out, I had Engineers Without Borders review it. I had everyone I knew, even the retired engineer. I was like, look at this. Is there a guarantee that there is a water table here? And everyone was like, you're good to go.
Kevin, can we make a landman Africa here?
And then after you get this well up and running and using it in your community, do you know how long it will take you to pay for the drilling of a second well?
So that depends on like how fast we have to go in terms of like working with Engineers Without Borders and getting that MLU signed as fast as possible. What we are looking at right now is the next 5 years, we are already starting this model of 10 to 20 years. So that is next year.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, we have Porter Comstock, class of 2026. Porter was mentored by lead mentor Brian Horry, class of 1982, and supporting mentors Rich Shorten, class of 1989, and Rachel Thibault, class of 1997. Please join me in welcoming Porter to the stage.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi. So my name is Porter Comstock. I'm the CEO and founder of Plant. So what if I told you that there was an industry desperate to keep track of their physical assets across tens or hundreds of acres of land? And to do it, they only had analog tools in a world where they need digital ones, because their customers want to complete transactions instantaneously, and because the businesses want to make sound business decisions. And so this is the nursery industry, and Plant is revolutionizing it with machine learning and robotics. So for a second, imagine that you own a nursery yourself. You have a laundry list of things to get done every day, from pruning plants, propagating them, spacing them, fertilizing them, not to mention you have to make sound business decisions. And so let's put this industry into perspective. The average size of an Amazon warehouse is about 18 acres. And in that warehouse are about 2,000 employees equipped with the latest cameras, sensors, and most sophisticated supply chain management tools to track the millions of items inside of it. Now, contrast that with a nursery. They have 120 acres of land, nearly 8 times the size of an Amazon warehouse. Yet, they have several orders of magnitude fewer employees, also tracking the millions of items inside of it. But they don't have that technology. Instead, they use baseball clickers, pencils, clipboards, and pickup trucks to do it. And so it takes them 3 weeks to count their inventory. And so for them, this means that they cannot complete those transactions instantaneously, it means they cannot track and manage their inputs and costs, and it means that they cannot make sound business decisions. And so all of this is compounded by a labor problem in the industry. Between 2019 and 2023, the farm wage rate doubled at the rate of inflation. And in a 2022 survey of Oregon nurseries, they found that nearly 2/3 could not find enough labor to fulfill their production quotas. And so, in short, the nursery industry is still in the 20th century. And Plant, we're bringing it into the 21st. With aerial imagery and drones, we're continuing to build and refine a proprietary AI plant counting model for nurseries to provide them with actionable insights to spur innovation and growth for their businesses. This is an aerial image of our lead development partner, Shade Trees Nursery. They're based in Long Island, and just 4 months ago when I met them, it took them 3 weeks to count their inventory. And now, with Plant, it takes them just 30 minutes. And so with all this data at their fingertips, it now means that they can complete those transactions instantaneously, and it means that they can make more sound business decisions. And so my name is Porter Comstock. I'm the CEO and founder. I bring an industry knowledge and a technical expertise. I've spent the past 4 years working in the industry as both a consumer and a supplier. And actually, this past summer, I worked at an 800-acre nursery in Oregon, and they had no centralized database. And so a sales rep asked me to complete one of their 100 plant orders, and I had to find a single plant to complete it by the end of the day. It took me several hours to find it. And so I knew that there had to be a better way. There were these inefficiencies. And so Plant was born. And so we plan to first target customers who feel this pain most strongly. These are nurseries with greater than 50 acres of land and less than 1 employee per acre. We then plan to scale with customers who arguably feel this pain just as strongly. They might have less than 50 acres of land, but they don't have the same acreage to generate the same revenue. And then we plan to expand our product offering to other land managers. Think municipalities and local, state, and federal governments. They too need to track their physical assets across tens, hundreds, or even thousands of acres of land. And so we are charging our customers on an annual subscription basis about $24,000 per year. And included in that are drone flights, image processing, inventory counting and management, and business analytics. And given that there are about 6,500 nurseries nationally, we estimate that there's an immediately addressable market of about $150 million in revenue per year. And once we expand our product offering to other land managers, we estimate that there's a total addressable market of about $400 million in revenue per year. And although there are some competitors in the ag tech space, for example, John Deere, their solutions are tailored for monocrop farmers. Think corn, soybean, and wheat. But the needs of those farmers are vastly different than those who grow specialty crops like plant nurseries. They might grow 1,000 varieties on their property. And then there are legacy ERP companies. But the insights that those companies can deliver are only as valuable as the inventories that the nursery can provide them with. And there are photo processing techniques out there, but none of them are nursery specific. And lastly, RFID tagging. But let me ask you a question. When the temps get up to 90 or 100 degrees in a few months, do you want to be in the fields tagging 30,000 trees? I did not think so. But nurseries need this. I was just on the phone with a nursery in Washington State, and they tagged their 30,000 trees. And it took them 8 months, and they had to hire another full-time employee just to do it. And so Plant offers the only integrated solution that the competition cannot match. And over the next 5 years, Plant will be so much more than just inventory counting and tracking system for the nursery industry. We want and will build a technology that is as capable as a PhD botanist in managing our clients' plants. From plant health analysis to soil moisture to the early detection of disease and stress, we we want to build a powerful precision growing technology for the industry. And so we are asking for contacts from machine learning engineers, from nursery contacts, and to eventually raise $260,000 to hire a machine learning engineer to continue to build and enhance our current model. We plan to be cash flow positive by month 21, and we estimate that we'll have a gross margin of about 65%. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation about Plant and how we are revolutionizing the industry and helping businesses grow, and also helping them grow even more beautiful plants to beautify the world around us. Thank you.
Great job. No shade to Kevin, but with Viraj and Lila, I think you have some real plant experts here on the stage. Sorry.
That's good.
How did you get into the nursery industry? I saw you were working in it for 4 years before you started this. What drew you to this industry in general?
Yeah, so my uncle, he's a landscape architect, and in high school I thought, oh, maybe I want to go into that. But then I was doing landscaping for one of my friend's dads. He knew I liked plants. And so I started, working at his house, started ameliorating the soil, putting in irrigation lines. It came time to buy plants. And I thought, I live in Los Angeles, it's 2022, so I could go online, have these plants delivered to my job site, and that wasn't the case. So then I found myself driving up and down the main freeway, the 405, for hours looking for these plants, calling, emailing. Sometimes even you have to fax a nursery. And so then I get to the nursery and I say, hey, do you guys have, these agapanthus? And they're like, no, we don't know, but you can go take a look. And so then I learned, you don't know what you have. Of course, I didn't say that, but I thought to myself, wow, how in 2022 can you run an industry when you don't know what you have in real time? And so that's when it started. And then I worked at a nursery and learned how they operate. And so here we are.
Nice job, Porter. I have a million questions, but I'll start with this one. So phase one, right, which is the inventory sort of tracking and counting. What is the existing technology, and is it developed? So I take it it's drone aerial imagery, and then how do you do the counting? Do you already have that built, or is that what the engineer is for? How market ready is the phase one solution?
Yeah. So I've now flown with 5 nurseries, and the plant counting models can count about 80% of the plants in an image. And actually, just 2 weeks ago, we did a nursery in East Texas. They have 600 acres, 1 million trees. They found me, funny enough, through Grok's chatbot. They started using my service. They had a few questions, and I hopped on the phone with them. We did 2 flights with them, counted plants with about 70 to 80% accuracy. And so I've just built that myself using the AI tools out there. And so part of the reason why we're raising money is to hire a machine learning engineer to streamline the training process for each nursery that we onboard, so we can develop a universal model for future customers.
So when you say train the model, you're training it to identify each plant from the aerial imagery? And is that mature plants, starter plants? Can it be used in greenhouses, or have you solved for some of those? That's what the engineers for as well?
Yeah, so our initial product offering is going to be just for outdoor horticultural operations, and it's just for counting. Where we see this business going is also identifying species, and that will require specific equipment and more machine learning models. But right now, we're teaching a computer, hey, this is what a plant looks like, count it.
Okay, cool.
I got 2 words for you. Weed farms. Sounds like there's a business there for you.
Do you know about that?
Well, they always need to count. I know they're not good at counting. And it sounds like you are. So, I don't know. It might be a good business partnership for you. I want to ask about the subscription model. Seems like a pretty big cash layout for companies that maybe are cash strapped.
Yeah.
Expand a little bit on how that would be. That's the best model.
Yeah, 2 things. So we plan to first target nurseries who are in the broader areas where there's an NFL stadium or an NFL team. Those are usually markets where customers will have money to spend on plants, and so nurseries can more often than not charge more money to their customers. So we're looking for markets that can sell lucrative plants at lucrative prices. Secondly, the Texas nursery that I was just in conversation with 2 weeks ago, they told me they actually contacted the RFID tagging company, and the RFID tagging company charged them $1.2 million. Oh. And they were going to implement it, but the company was too young in its infancy, and so they couldn't complete their product. But this nursery had $1 million to spend on this. And so I think first targeting those markets where there is money, and then targeting customers with 600 acres.
Sure.
How do you plan to find and get in contact with those nurseries? 'Cause some of them are, upstate, and I know you said you were looking for folks in metro areas, but they're not typically right next to cities.
Yeah, good question. So my successful outreach has been through calling and doing in-person visits. Most of these operations are family run, and so relationships are really important. Another mode of go-to-market is also sending mailers as a way to communicate with them. You're not going to find them on Facebook or Instagram. And so it's querying for nurseries with greater than 50 acres of land and cold calling them and developing a relationship.
All right, we're going to get you to some trade shows next year. That's where we're going to find some customers for you, I think, too.
In your experience, how much time does it take to create your data set? Like, how many photographs do you have to take of a given plant species for the model to really know that that's what it is?
Yeah, good question. What I've done is there's a way to manipulate the data. So like we've taken, right now, I have like over 1,000 photos, and I've used just a portion of that. And we've gotten to this point.
Okay,
I won't say how much because that's what I'm doing, but yeah.
Sorry.
Getting
Porter.
you in trouble.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Great job.
Thanks.
Okay, great. All right, let's give another round of applause for the 4 incredible pitches. So much time went into that. It was amazing. Okay. In just a minute, I'm going to ask the judges to get up and come to the other room where judges' deliberations will begin. During that time, Carolyn will give a really exciting update on E&I strategic update. So we'll see you soon.
Cue the dramatic music, please.
Amazing. Congratulations again to all 4 teams. I know this is going to be a difficult decision for the judges. Now, as our judges head off to deliberate, this is where the rest of you come in. Now is the time to take out your phone, scan that QR code that's in your program, that's in your envelope and on the screen here, and cast your votes for the Audience Choice Award. So as a reminder, you'll be voting in 4 categories. The first award is the Chicory Innovation Award for the most groundbreaking and original innovation. The PAR Technology Award for the product most effective at removing friction from an industry. The MVP Capital Award for the venture with the most solid business potential and most solid business model and immediate market potential. And the People's Choice Award, the solution, product, or app that you most want to buy or use right now. Perfect. So while folks are finishing up their choices, I'd like to take a moment to highlight what's next in our TI ecosystem this summer. One of the most exciting things about our program today is that it's not the end, it's a launch pad. This summer, we'll be running our Summer Accelerator program, where selected student ventures will spend the summer building, testing, and scaling their businesses with dedicated mentorship, structured programming, and milestone-based funding. We're thrilled to announce that the teams participating in this year's Summer Accelerator are Plant, founded by Porter Comstock, class of 26, who you've just seen on stage today. SoundSync, founded by Sophie Martin, class of 2027. SoundSync is an app that allows users to share and create playlists together regardless of their music streaming platforms. And Oasis Running, co-founded by Andrew Sullivan, class of 2026, revolutionizing racewear in athletics and beyond. In addition to Summer Acceleration, we're also proud to support students through internships, part of a new initiative from our office. This summer, TIA students will be working directly at innovative startups and organizations, bridging the gap between their own venture development and professional practice as they build the networks and skills necessary for their future careers. While our judges continue their deliberation, I'd now like to take a few minutes to share more about the work of our office. Entrepreneurship at Colgate began in 2009 with the creation of the Thought into Action program by a group of passionate alumni who wanted to help students apply their liberal arts education to solving real-world problems through entrepreneurship. Since then, more than 1,000 students have participated in the program, developing real ventures and building entrepreneurial skills along the way. We've awarded approximately $1 million in funding to support the development of their entrepreneurial ideas. Many of those ventures have since gone on to raise follow-on funding and create new jobs and economic impact. Many of you know us through this lens of TIA and its impact. Today, though, we're not just an incubator, but we're a strategic hub that integrates the liberal arts with professional skills development. 4 years ago, our office, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, was established as a new unit within the provost and dean of the faculty. The goal was to build upon the legacy of TIA while expanding our scope as part of the university's initiative for arts, creativity, and innovation. TIA programs very much remain our signature offerings, supporting students at all stages, including exploration with our Idea Squad program, where students are introduced to entrepreneurial skills and concepts while building community. Execution, where the TIA Incubator and Summer Accelerator continue to support students who are building real ventures. And professional integration, such as that new TIA internship program, which connects students with meaningful summer opportunities by leveraging the TIA Mentor Network. We've made strategic additions to our offerings, often through key partnerships, including entrepreneurship microcredentials, the Tuck Business Bridge program at Colgate, and the annual Gate Hacks Hackathon. This August, we'll launch a new pre-orientation program to engage students with our entrepreneurship ecosystem from the day that they step onto campus. Through these programs, students develop real ventures and build entrepreneurial skills that are critical in today's world, regardless of their career path after graduation. Skills like problem solving, teamwork, resilience, and effective communication. This is truly the Colgate competitive advantage, making our students recession-proof and highly adaptable in a changing job market. We've also put entrepreneurship directly in conversation with academics. Here are just a couple examples for you. Last year, through a collaboration with the first-year seminar program, we brought entrepreneur and economic justice advocate Arlo Washington to campus. He was here for 2 days, highlighting his work impacting systemic poverty through new business generation. This year, we spearheaded the Colgate Tempestry Project, engaging students both inside and outside the classroom with entrepreneurial initiative that blends activism, climate change visualization, and storytelling, showcasing an example of how the entrepreneurial mindset can be applied to global challenges. By bringing these examples of high-impact entrepreneurship into our classrooms, we aren't just teaching students how to start a business. We are teaching them how to use entrepreneurial tools to tackle the most pressing issues of our time. And when we think about the innovation side of our work, it isn't just about startups. It's about a mindset applied to the arts and sciences. Our work in this area has focused on strategic collaborations that highlight innovation in action and engage students in interdisciplinary work. David Kelly's residency as Clifford Family Innovator in Residence epitomizes how we're connecting high-level inspiration with hands-on experience through our Arts, Creativity, and Innovation initiative. During his time on campus, Kelly led an intensive design charrette where our students prototyped solutions for community challenging, learning how to pitch a vision of the future that's both innovative and actionable. Kelly also shared his insights and guidance for students involved for Design for America, a 3-year pilot program that's supported by our office, which trains students in design thinking to develop those types of innovative solutions to both campus and community challenges. His advice, push beyond what's comfortable and work through discouragement. When TIA began in 2009, it was a bold experiment. Today, it's the anchor of a robust, impactful entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem. I'm really proud of the work of our office, but I'm even more proud of the students who take these risks every day. Whether they walk away with a prize today or a set of hard-won lessons, they are leaving Colgate better prepared for whatever comes next. Building on that preparedness, though, is not a solo endeavor. As Jen mentioned, and as you can see on the screen behind me, we're backed by an incredible network of alumni, parents, and volunteers who serve as the heartbeat of this program. These volunteers don't just offer advice, they provide the guidance and the professional roadmaps that help our students navigate the real world. To our mentors, thank you for your time, your expertise, and your belief in these students. For those of you in the audience who are inspired by what you saw on stage today, I invite you to join this list. Come find me or a member of my team and after the awards, and let's chat about how you can get involved. As any entrepreneur in the room knows, a great roadmap still needs fuel. translating a liberal arts education into a tangible venture with all of the steps along the way, conducting customer discovery, building prototypes, launching, marketing, scaling. It requires real resources. Every dollar of the seed and acceleration funding awarded today, from the investment game to the grand prizes, even to those summer accelerator grants that we give out, comes directly from the generosity of our community. We are deeply grateful to those of you who have helped fuel the success. If you are moved by the Colgate competitive advantage that we're building, you can make a gift by scanning the QR code on the screen or visiting the URL listed. Your investment ensures that when a Colgate student has a world-changing idea, we have the resources to help them build it. And so with that, we'll give our judges a couple of more minutes, and then we will move on to our awards presentation. All right, so our judges are done deliberating, so I'll invite you to return to your seats, get comfortable for just a few minutes. I'm going to invite Jen, our pitch competition teams, and Uni Baker Saito from the Colgate class of 2013 to the stage. Perfect. Okay, so I'll have the 4 pitch competition teams come up and take a place on stage, please. And then I would also like to welcome back Jen, as well as Uni Baker Saito, Colgate class of 2013. Yes, yeah. Nope.
All right. Where are we? Oh, yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. I'm so excited that we launched the Audience Choice Awards this year because it's exactly what we practice in TIA. It's pitching, getting real-time feedback, and then learning through doing and discovery. We also introduced corporate sponsors this year for the first time. And I remember when I mentioned it briefly to Uni, before we even had launched the program, he was like, yeah, we're in, Chicory's in. And then, so when the time came, it was no surprise that he was the first to raise his hand, sponsoring with $2,500, which as a reminder, goes directly to the venture. So for our first award, the Chickpea Innovation Award, which is the big idea for the most groundbreaking and original innovation, I'm honored to invite Uni up to say a few words.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Uni. I'm class of 2013, co-founder, CEO here at Chicory. We actually started Chicory in our dorm room senior year at Colgate 13 years ago. In fact, we went through the TIA program and we pitched Chicory on the stage where all these students are now. Thank you, I guess. But this weekend actually was life-changing for us. We walked away with $30,000 of seed funding from alums and parents in the audience, and it allowed us to work on Chicory full-time. And in that first year of business, I reached out to 300 Colgate alums. 90% of them got back to me. Yeah, huge for the Colgate network. And that led to our first partnerships, our first customers, our first hires. So we would not be here. Chicory would not be here without the Colgate community and the Colgate connection. So 13 years later, I'm just really proud to be able to pay it forward with the Chicory Innovation Award. And before we hand out the award, I just want to say congrats to all the teams up here and to all the ventures at TIA. I mean, you guys are far beyond where Chicory was when we were standing here, so it's just incredible to see how far things have gotten. And now, yeah, the Chicory Innovation Award goes to Agnes from MajiSafi Solutions. There you go.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Uni. Now let's keep it going. And yes, thank you. I haven't pulled it up. Next, we will announce the PAR Technology Award, which is the streamliner for the product most effective at removing friction from an industry. And the winner is Plant. All right, and the MVP Capital Award, the most scalable, the venture with the most solid business model and immediate market potential is HatchPay. And last but not least, the People's Choice Award, the must-have, the solution or product or app you want to buy and use right now is EchoScape. And now I'm excited to announce, well, first let me say that I've never done this before, so I don't know what the judges' deliberation room's usually like, but the top pick for all 4 judges were a different venture. So it was not easy to do in 10 minutes, and this morning I promised them that it would be very easy to do because it's only one winner, and so it was very, very, very hard. But the winner for the first place $10,000 grand prize is Porter Comstock with Plant. I want to take a second to also say that the judges were like, can we come say nice things about everyone and how hard this was? And I was like, we don't have time, but go to the tabling. And I also want to recognize that to the other teams standing here today, who will each walk away with $3,000, you should all be so proud. This was such a hard showcase to even get into. And the judges had, I can't even tell you how hard of a time making a decision. So being on the stage itself is a huge accomplishment. You guys have worked so hard. I can't tell everyone how many hours they have all practiced. They have gotten on calls with mentors. They have poured so much into this. And I want to remind you that this is the beginning, that you guys proved you have something. And now it's just to keep going. The amount of no's and pitch competitions I lost, you don't even want to know. So I'm so proud of you all, and you should feel really, really great. And the day is still going. Maybe you'll get some investment at your table. So I'm going to have students start going over to their booth, and Carolyn's going to wrap us up.
All right, perfect. So the students are going to head over to their tables now. I'm just going to take a moment to wrap us up. Congratulations to all of our showcase teams. So this event is in its 14th year, and I'm blown away by all of the talent and the innovation that comes out of this room. This is just the beginning for so many of our ventures. I can't wait to see where you go. Before we finish up our time together, I want to express some deep gratitude. The first is a huge thank you to our panel moderator and our panelists for their insights and their deliberations today. The next is my deep appreciation to all the dedicated staff and partners who made this event possible. That includes our colleagues in ITS, University Events, Communications, University Printing, Advancement, and Facilities. And most of all, thank you to my team, Jen Martin, Christian Vichy, Chaneli Perez. I could not do this without them. They have put so much work into making this event possible. So I'd like to do a big round of applause for the E&I team. Okay, so next we will officially kick off our venture showcase in the investment game. This is your opportunity to speak with all of the ventures in the room and help them secure real grant funding. There are over 30 ventures represented here today. Our entrepreneurs have been working tirelessly on their products and services and getting ready to showcase them to you. Behind those curtains on the left is the venture showcase area. Every team has a table set up and they're ready to meet you. As we pull back the curtains, let me tell you how this is going to work. First, check your envelopes. So inside those envelopes you received, you will find 4 Iggies. Think of these like Monopoly money that you can distribute to use as an investor today. If you don't have an envelope, no worries, just find myself or a member of my team, most likely it's standing over there, who can make sure that you get an envelope with Iggies. Then go meet the ventures. Visit as many of those ventures as you can. If you love their product or service, you can invest one of your 4 Iggies by putting it into their box. The golden rule is to spread the wealth, so 4 Iggies, choose 4 individual separate teams. At the end of today's event, we will count all of the Iggies. Each Iggy correlates to real money, and so each venture will receive a portion of our total grant funding pot of $10,000. Thank you all for joining us here today. The Venture Showcase will run for the next hour. Please stand up, grab some refreshments, and happy investing.